then you enter the museum.
Right.
Whether it's at one of our Trucktoberfest events or some of our special events that we have here. When you come here, you'll be greeted with respect and love, because we love the people who want to come here and share and experience and be enlightened and educated on the history of Mack.
Welcome to Beyond the Bulldog, presented by Mack Trucks. I'm your host, Brian Wright. What you can expect from Beyond the Bulldog is to learn, enjoy, and participate from the comfort of your seat, whether on the road or off. You'll engage in topics and stories from people that work throughout the trucking industry. This is mile marker 31, and we have a special on-location interview at the Mack Trucks Historical Museum in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Mack Trucks was headquartered in Allentown for over 100 years, from 1905 to 2009. The podcast team made a special trip to interview the museum's curator, Doug Maney. In this episode, you'll learn about Doug's background as a mechanical engineer and claims specialist, how Doug's passion for antique trucks led him to Mack Trucks Historical Museum, and his responsibilities as curator to provide documentation, to maintain the trucks and artifacts, and to provide personal tours.
You're listening to Beyond the Bulldog, presented by Mack Trucks.
We are here with Doug Maney, curator for the Mack Trucks Historical Museum. Thank you for joining us today on our podcast.
No problem whatsoever.
Excited to be on site here. We are in a pretty special room. Why don't we start with that? Where are we?
Oh my! So yeah, this is definitely a space to be discussed. This is the Sound Room Gallery at the Mack Trucks Historical Museum.
Yeah.
In Allentown, Pennsylvania, located in the Mack Experience Center at Allentown, which is the former Engineering Development and Test Center.
Cool.
So this room, being the Sound Room Gallery, as I look around, is a room that was created to combat some noises that were being made by trucks. So the federal government was proposing legislation that trucks would have the same drive-by and interior noise levels as passenger cars. So this facility was opened in 1974, and I'll probably say this several times through the interview, put yourself back in time.
Yeah.
You remember how loud trucks were in 1974, straight pipes and gear noise and whatever else. But Mack, in order to help meet legislation that was proposed, never came to be, but was proposed, built this room to be able to bring a truck in, park it, hook it to a driveline dynamometer, and run it at speed setting still, so that engineers could put sensors or microphones or walk around it to determine what was making noise.
Okay. Yeah, and that was just proposed legislation. They built this and nothing happened, right?
Right.
But it's a great place to do a podcast. So let's talk about you, how you kind of found your way to the Mack Historic Museum. How did you get into trucking?
I was born into trucking. I was born into central Pennsylvania, a little town called Pine Glen, which is almost the geographic center of PA, depending on which corner you use down in that that round part. But that's where I grew up. So it was soft coal area, strip mining, soft coal, and lumber. They were the big industries. So all along, seeing trucks go by, being around trucks all my life, my family was in the trucking industry since 1915. My grandfather, at the age of 12, got a job driving a brand new 1915 International truck. We're not going to say that too loud, but that was the start of our involvement with trucks.
Yeah.
So he was driving, and then went from that to having trucks and owning and opening a strip mine. And then my uncles had strip mines. My dad just kind of fell into working for them. With regulation changes through the late 50s and 60s, they started a company that was modifying trucks. So prior to, they were all single-axle tractors or pulling tandem axle trailers. And Pennsylvania added legislation to their weight capacity laws where if you added another axle, if you had a tandem axle tractor, you could haul more weight. So one of the business opportunities was to modify trucks, put another axle on so they could haul more weight. That turned into mounting log loaders and log bunks on trucks to haul logs out of the woods, which then turned to a company created by my uncle called Keyway, Keyway, trailers, Keyway logging equipment. And my dad did some design work for the trailers and such, and my uncle's company built them, which probably led me into the manufacturing side of the interest.
Yeah.
So they had a very popular product, sold all over the East Coast. And when my dad finally left the company, he went to work for an insurance company. In a short amount of time, the insurance company realized that he's knowledgeable on vehicles, he's knowledgeable on cars, that kind of thing, but he really knows trucks and equipment. So he shifted over to doing trucks and equipment for the insurance company, ultimately creating a heavy equipment department in another insurance company.
Yeah.
So as a kid, I rode along with him all summer long, shadowing him, mirroring his, writing estimates, and I would take his pictures for him of wrecked trucks or equipment.
Yeah.
So I knew that I wanted to be in the automotive trucking industry.
Yeah.
We always had a truck or a car around that we were working on, cleaning up, fixing, repairing. My brother started a body shop. We worked on truck hoods or cabs or trucks or cars. Put a lot of time in doing that stuff. And in the 80s, the government environmental regulations started really clamping down on how you disposed of your chemicals and things like that. So he was to the point where he's like, I'm not going to deal with all that stuff. So he eliminated the body shop for business, and we just used it as our personal shop to rebuild. In 1984, he bought a Mack Superliner.
Okay.
So it was wrecked, and we rebuilt it. Well, he decided the rates were pretty good on some of the hauling that he was doing, so he decided that he was going to go in trucking, like my grandfather was. So started a trucking business. He drove. I wasn't old enough to drive yet, so I was service. So I was the tire changer, oil changer, and things like that. So it was enjoyable, but it wasn't fun.
Right. It's much more fun to drive than to pat grease, Yeah.
So one December evening, he took the truck at night to go get loaded for the next morning, and coming out of the strip mine, ran over something, got an inside trailer tire that was flat. So our town that we lived in, our little street, he couldn't come back with the truck loaded. So he parked it out at the church lot. And I went out there to check it out. When he came in, he said, I got an inside trailer tire flat. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it was raining and sleeting and miserable, wind blowing. So I went out, changed the tire, and I thought to myself, I'm not doing this the rest of my life,
Yeah.
So I thought at that point, okay, I'm going to move on to the cleaner side of things. I'd always appreciated the fact that my dad did design work on these trailers for Keyway, and I was always drawing. I was always artistic as far as I'm a kid that's truck nuts. What am I going to draw? I drew trucks.
Yeah.
So I get into the the finer elements of detail on trucks and things like that. So I went that route. High school in industrial arts. I could never really figure out why they called it industrial arts. And it's drafting, or it's shop class. Computer-aided drafting had just come in, to be popular at that point when I was in high school, middle school. The industrial arts teacher knew I was interested, so he would say, "Come down during study hall and just mess with this AutoCAD." I'm like, okay, and I excelled at it. It was phenomenal. So I ended up realizing this is what I'm going to do.
Which was what?
Engineering, drafting, design work. I ended up going to Williamsport Community College in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, which is now Pennsylvania College of Technology under a big college called Penn State.
Might have heard of them.
Yeah. I had a great education there and excelled because of just the background. I knew how to tear things apart. I knew how they had to go together. I'd already had experience, with drafting and design. My senior year of high school was academic.
Yeah.
But I worked half day and went to school in the morning because my industrial arts instructor had a friend that worked over at a company through the field, Pentran Corporation, that needed part-time draftsmen.
Oh, cool.
On AutoCAD.
Oh.
So I would go to school in the morning, go over there and work in the afternoon, and I'm like, how can it get any better than this?
Yeah.
So that was in high school. Then, like I said, I went to college and ultimately ended up at Dana Corporation Parish Division in Reading, automotive industry, which is where I was shooting for.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do heavy truck work because I'm a truck nut.
Yeah.
Well, truck frames, when you look at a drawing of a truck frame, it's straight lines and circles.
That is true.
So
yeah.
I lasted about a week and a half. And they said, we're wasting you over here. Come over here. We have some other projects. So Ford projects, a couple of Jeep projects, but ultimately ended up on Ford projects. And a lot more curves, a lot more surfacing, that kind of thing. So it was it was fun. It was fun while that lasted.
Yeah. Then what happened?
So I started in 90 at Parish. 94, the new F-150 that was coming out for 97 model year was well underway. I designed the frame for that, frame sections for the what was then to be the ultimately came the Expedition. Started doing some pilots and prototypes on the line down in Norfolk and such. I did, was down there for that. It was exciting times.
Yeah.
Okay. Then that is winding down. Okay. So now they're going to start production of them, which I already knew from previous history there, that then it kind of gets a little stale. At that point, I thought, okay, am I going to stay doing this or do I need to work towards something else?
Right.
And I knew the insurance industry, and my dad was still working for an insurance company. I thought, they need people that know what's going on, know the industry, know trucks, know equipment. So I really shifted my focus toward the insurance industry. So
that's a big jump.
It is, but it isn't. You're still using your expertise. The drafting and design turns right into how was that engine designed, or how was that cab designed, or that part designed, so that you can take it apart. Okay, if that panel or if that piece got broken in there, what do I have to do to take it off to fix it?
Yeah.
So the mechanical background, the design background, it all worked together.
Okay.
To into the insurance industry.
Yeah.
So
that does make sense. I didn't really see a connection until you explained that.
It's a weird connection, but it does. It really works out. So in 96, I went to work for the insurance company doing heavy equipment appraisal.
Yeah.
And it was a great job. Great job. Fantastic. Loved it.
What'd you do?
I would get up in the morning with my assignments.
Yeah.
I started just prior to them being computerized. You check your voicemails and see where everything was. You go to your fax machine. You got your assignment. And my coverage area when I started was Northern Virginia, Northern Maryland, Northeastern Maryland, and the Philadelphia corner of Pennsylvania. So I'd get up in the morning at 4:30, leave, be in Washington, D.C. before 7, before traffic, look at what I needed to look at in D.C. at the time, get out of D.C. by 9:30, go up to Baltimore, do what I had to do in Baltimore. And then, if I had something up in the Philly corner of the state, I'd drive up to Philly corner state. And I'd be back home by 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next day I would stay at home and do the paperwork.
Yeah.
Write the estimates, process the pictures and do all that good stuff.
So these are crash scenes.
These are garages, truck repair shops or garages or towing shops. Yeah.
Or crashes or what?
Appraisals.
Okay.
Appraisals on a truck that caught fire or a truck that burned up or a truck that
in other words, what's left?
Crashed or
salvageable.
So is it repairable or is it not repairable? Is it a piece of junk or can we, if it's worth $100,000, can I put 40 back into it and save it for the guy? And what kind of time frame are we looking at to get it back in shape? It was a great job. It really was. The cool part about the job all along was in my travels, okay, I'm looking at wrecked vehicles. I'm looking at wrecked trucks. I'm looking at burned equipment, whatever it was. You drive by a junkyard. That's a nice little junkyard. I'm going to go in there and see what they have for parts because I use used parts. So it got me into junkyards to see what's out there, what people have laying around. It's like, oh, hey, So I ended up being able to find parts and buy parts and things like that for friends or whatever.
Yeah.
When I started for the insurance company in 96, I had just bought my own first antique truck.
Okay.
So 61 Mack.
Yeah.
G73. It was as good as it could be.
Really?
Yeah. It was ugly, but it was solid.
Yeah.
So put it together to get moving and like operational under its own power and moving under its own power. And started taking it to a few shows where it got looks. We'll say that it got looks.
Hey, looks matter.
So, but all along, knowing that the Mack Trucks Historical Museum was out there, so I reached out for information, started volunteering here at the museum, helping work on trucks or move displays or whatever needed done. Like I said, in my travels for work, I would go to junkyards or go to salvage yards. And if they needed a part for something here, I could pick it up at the salvage yard and bring it here and deliver it. Say, here's a part you need for that truck. Making friends all along the way and got to know a lot of people in the organization of Mack and the museum. So,
happy holidays from Mack Trucks. Give the gifts that trucking enthusiasts want from your Mack shop. You will find a truckload of items, from hats to shirts to hoodies, from mugs to tumblers to water bottles, from die-cast trucks to plush bulldogs to our heritage collection. Mack Shop offers lots of ways for you to give the perfect gift and to show off your love of this iconic American brand. This holiday season, Mack Shop is offering free shipping on your order of $49 or more. You can take advantage of this deal and others by clicking on Mack Coupons at mackshop.com. For the perfect gift for the trucker at heart, visit mackshop.com. We're here with Doug Maney. He is a curator with the Mack Trucks Historic Museum here in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and we're talking about his love for trucks and his career path. And your first truck was a 1961 Mack, and it's getting looks.
It's getting looks.
Yeah.
It was.
Were you doing lipstick on a pig kind of thing,
No, it was. I was doing mechanical work on it so that it would move under its own power.
Yeah.
So as it started out, the fellow I bought it from had sold the transmission out of the truck because a friend needed it.
Yeah.
So here I have a 14,000 pound paperweight.
Yeah.
So I found a transmission ultimately in my uncle's garage.
Okay.
That was about half mile from my brother's house where I was keeping the truck at that time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did he install it for you as well?
No,
I mean, this is like the perfect scenario.
we had an installation party. We'll put that. Yeah. But it worked out. Unique vehicle, unique transmission. I'd gone, looked everywhere, and there it was, half mile from the house. So under a piece of plywood, painted, ready to go. That was never put in another truck. So it was just a fluke, but we got it. The museum information that I had got for the restoration, for the maintenance and what I needed to do on my old truck was certainly intriguing to me. Now, in riding along with my dad in the early 80s, I had an interest in old Macks. Okay, so a friend of his, Bill Shaw, owned Shaw Trucking in Brockway, Pennsylvania, called Brockway Glass, if you know anything about glass from Pennsylvania.
I do, actually.
Yep.
There's a place not far from us. It's now called Owens, Illinois, but it was Owens Brockway.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So he had old Macks he had Macks in his fleet. And in the 80s, he was buying new Macks and then moving his older Macks to switching tractors in the yard and things like that. And one day we pulled in to look at one of his new trucks that hit a deer. And he had 2 H models pulled out by the road for sale. And I told my dad, drop me off here. So I get dropped off at the road, and I am all over these 2 H model Macks. Really one of my favorite models to this day. My dad went back and did his work, and he and Bill came back out to the road. I was still out there probably 2 or 3 hours later, and they said, and Bill's like, "What do you look at these old trucks for?" I said, "They're awesome, you know." And the rest of that day, and probably the rest of, I don't know, maybe the rest of that summer, I was trying to talk my dad into allowing me to buy these 2 old H models. And he's like, "What do you want these old trucks for?"
Right.
This many years later, no, I never bought them. He wouldn't let me buy them.
Wow.
He said, "You need something to drive. You need a car. You need a pickup or something for when you turn 16. You have." So I never got the H models.
Got it.
But the G, we restored, got that in place, but I still have it. It's in the collection. But
I mean, next step is, truck shows, antique truck club. How'd you get involved? Was it just a natural, I'm home, just let me eat, let me do some work. I'll organize things for you because I would do it anyway. Is that how it kind of fell?
Yeah, kind of. It's what's turned into trucks are my life. Just ask my wife. She's pretty adamant, and that I love trucks more than her. But which isn't true. But when you get an antique truck, when you enter into the hobby, you meet people. Your supply chain of used and antique parts comes available, through different people, through all different people, and they become your friends. And what are they into? Well, they belong to this truck club. Okay. So, I joined a truck club, help with some, rather large events that the Antique Truck Club of America has their national meet in Macungie Park every Father's Day weekend. Yeah. It's the greatest antique truck show on earth. 1,000 trucks in a town park. It's lovely. I've been on the show committee for that since a long time, helping with it probably since 2000 or something like that, really. And on the board of directors for 20 plus years. And we're all just like-minded people that love the hobby and want to preserve history, period.
Yeah.
So
I was on a kind of a foreign exchange. When I graduated high school, I went to Germany for a number of weeks. And then the summer after my freshman year in college, my German buddy came over to America. And I'll never forget how excited he was to see American rigs on the road. Because in Europe, it's just different.
Yeah.
They don't have, the long nose, the high stacks, the chrome, the customization. It's more utilitarian.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll never forget that. And, when you think about the Antique Truck Club, you're restoring that Americana.
Yes.
Just kind of like Mack is the brand, right? It's the trucks in America moving commerce forward.
125 years.
Yeah.
This year, 2025.
Yeah.
125 years. Okay, 120 with trucks, 125 with buses. A Mack truck affects your life in one way or another every day. You don't think about it. You never thought about it before, but it does. Did you have cereal for breakfast this morning? Did you have a Pop-Tart? Okay, did you have a Pop-Tart for breakfast this morning? You probably didn't because you were at a hotel this morning, but those of you who are out there that had a Pop-Tart for breakfast this morning, I could guarantee you that the flour that was hauled to Kellogg's to make that Pop-Tart was delivered there by a Mack. Why? Because Snavely's Mill in Lidditz, Pennsylvania, or they have a couple of different locations, several different locations, uses Macks to haul their flour. So that flour was delivered to Kellogg's in a Mack, with a Mack, okay? Whatever other ingredients, if it was an apple one, who hauls the apples out of the field? Who hauls the butter and the milk that was used to make them? How does that milk get from the cow to the milk producer? How did the feed get to the cow out of the field? There's so many avenues that go into what we eat every day, or what we, the gas that we use in our cars, or the cars that we drive, or the house that we live in. How'd that lumber get to that job site to build that house? Good chances there was a Mack involved. So that's, so the preservation of history. So that's how that ends up where I'm at now, is preserving history, the Mack history and the affiliated brands for the future generations to appreciate, to utilize, to keep their families, possibly old trucks, hand crank, trucks that when you pop the hood on this thing, you can't imagine what it looks like under there if you've never seen it. It's like, wow, look how simple. Where are these? How do you take this apart? There's no bolts. Well, we can teach people how to do that. What it takes to work this or fix this or make it run. And that's become, I guess, my passion with the Antique Truck Club and being the curator of the Mack Trucks Historical Museum.
For this episode, we honor Allentown, Pennsylvania. In 1905, Jack and Gus Mack moved their motor company, Mack Trucks, from Brooklyn, New York to Allentown, Pennsylvania. By 1914, Mack Trucks developed a global reputation for manufacturing sturdy and reliable trucks and vehicles. Throughout the 20th century, Mack Trucks grew substantially, ultimately including 8 Allentown-based manufacturing plants. Today, Allentown's role in Mack's legacy continues with Lehigh Valley operations, where our Class 8 trucks are assembled. Mack Defense, the government division providing specialized vehicles for our military and allies. The Mack Experience Center, the former engineering facility with on-road and off-road test tracks used for quality control and customer experiences. And Mack Trucks Historical Museum, honoring the legacy of Mack Trucks and providing valuable resources to owners, dealers, and the public. Once again, we are here with Doug Maney, curator of Mack Trucks Historical Museum. Let's talk about this place here, why it's special, what you do, what's on the premises.
Let's begin with the facility.
The
facility here, where the Mack Trucks Historical Museum is located, which is now the Mack Experience Center, renamed 2023 from Mack Customer Center. This facility opened August 20th of 1975 as the Engineering Development and Test Center for Mack. So the property is 62 acres, 3/4 mile test track around the property, around the building, essentially. Skid pad, off-highway course, 2 off-highway courses, tucked back in behind Queen City Airport, out of the way, because when this facility opened, Mack was at the top of their game, and every manufacturer wanted to be Mack. So they had to have a place where they could test their products, kind of out of sight, so not everybody could see what was happening at Mack. So here's this facility back in here. From 1975 to 2010, that's what happened here. I'd been here a couple times for different things, open houses and such, but when you stepped onto, or when you drove through the gate, under the bridge, and your field of vision saw this glass front building, it sent chills down your spine. The hair would stand up on your neck and your arms, because this is a special place. When you thought about the innovation in the industry that was tested here, that made its way onto Mack products through that time frame is just incredible. Just some of the trucks that came through here that were tested here, beautiful trucks, historic vehicles that spent time and were created from the mind to paper or computer into this, at the far end of the building, the west end of the building, from engineering to the center of the building, which is the showroom now. That was the tool crib and the machine shop. Mm-hmm. So it went from idea to design to metal. And then the south end of the building, where the C wing, where Mack Defense's production line is now, that's where those parts would be assembled onto a truck. Mm-hmm. And then into the B wing, which is where we're at in the test wing of the building for testing. Mm-hmm. And when those parts were approved, then they went around the track. Mm-hmm. And then ultimately out onto the highway. So there's so many of those innovations that came through here. It's a special place. Mm-hmm. It's Mack Mecca to my people, mm-hmm. to my truck club people, my Mack enthusiast people, my friends.
Yeah. And the people listening to this podcast.
Well, I hope.
Well, eventually they're all going to be Mack family, right?
I hope so.
When it comes down to it, it's a podcast about people in the trucking industry. Mm-hmm. Want to hear stories about real people? You talked about how you got into trucking, and so far it's 90 to 95% my dad or family was in it, and that's how I was introduced.
Yeah.
So those listening have that same connection.
They do.
And whether they are of this brand or another, they need to experience this.
Yeah.
Because it's cool.
Then you enter the museum.
Right.
Whether it's at one of our Trucktoberfest events or some of our special events that we have here, or just a scheduled tour. Mm-hmm. Go to our website, MackTrucksHistoricalMuseum.org. Reserve a tour. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. There's 4 tours each day. Line it up. But when you come here, you'll be greeted with respect and love, because we love the people who want to come here and share and experience and be enlightened and educated on the history of Mack. The staff that we have here, with the exception of me, are all Mack retirees. Mm-hmm. We're all part-time. Mm-hmm. We're all, just people who love the brand and want to do this because we want to do this.
Well, your title on LinkedIn says caretaker of Mack history.
Yeah.
So it's much more than, I put a new axle on an old, antique truck.
Our archive, that's the heart of the museum. You see the AC here and you see other trucks in the background, but what the heart of the museum is the archive. We have about 50 million pages that we access to supply information. Mm-hmm. And that takes preservation. So it's different medias. It's many different media types. It's paper. It's books. It's microfiche. It's microfilm. It's negatives. It's photographs. Slides. About this much of it is digitized. So
sure.
10% of it, not even 10%. 5% of it's digitized into a way that we can go to a computer and type something in and look and find it.
What do you do with this information?
So our website, MackTrucksHistoricalMuseum.org, at the top has a Contact Us link, form. You click Contact Us, you fill out a form. So we get about 1,000 requests each year from individuals who are restoring a truck or are just curious about some Mack history, or their dad had a truck, or they want to build a model of a truck, or I've had authors who are writing a book about trucking in the 70s and want to know what did the top of the line showcase truck cost in 1974.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
The restorer could be, what color was my truck? Could ask, what color was my truck when it was new? Mm-hmm. Or what size set screw holds this piece of machinery on the shaft? And we can give them the size of that set screw,
Wow.
what thread pitch, and all that good stuff,
Yeah.
because we have that detailed information.
Wow.
The other avenue is from dealers. We get questions from dealers. So dealers who have customers who are still running old Mack trucks, vintage Mack trucks. They want to keep their dealers happy, or their customers happy. Their dealers, they want to sell them new trucks whenever the time comes.
Right.
And it could be that customer has 5 new trucks, but he has 10 vintage trucks that hauls his goods off the road or to the local mill. Then the newer trucks haul it to the city or whatever. So those dealers contact us because computer systems nowadays are limited in what information they can hold. I don't really know why. I don't know what that is, but the computer systems don't have information on old trucks.
Right.
We get it.
Yeah.
So they contact us to find out, hey, that old truck, that 1989, Mack, what filter does that take for the, oil? So
Yeah.
we supply that information.
Yeah. That's amazing when you start to think about how many models, how specific that information can get, from thread pitch on a screw to oil filter to everything else. What else happens here at the museum?
Okay. Because we are at the Mack Experience Center, and we're a marketing tool is what we are. We're sales and marketing, a distant cousin extension of the family. So we offer tours to customers. So when customers come here to do their test drives in the newest model or the latest product, and are anticipating purchasing or thinking about purchasing, we give them the history tour. We our staff of ambassadors will give them the tour to explain to them, this is 125 years of Mack history and innovation that is going into the truck that you're looking at or thinking about buying.
Right.
This is where it started. This is how it has evolved.
Yeah.
And you are going to drive, the latest innovation by Mack around the track and see the final product, at this point, the current product, we'll say.
Yeah. This museum is not directly connected with Mack Trucks, right?
No, we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, independent of Mack.
Yep.
They give us the space, and what a
great space.
phenomenal space. Oh, like I said, it's it's Mack Mecca for anybody who loves the brand. It's a great spot, but we have just a collection of trucks
that all run.
Right? Every one of them runs.
Yeah.
Doesn't do them good not to run.
That's the truth. Any vehicle, really.
Yeah. I mean, within, looking around this room, within a half an hour, and that's running and getting gas to prime or whatever, we can have any of these trucks operational.
Yeah.
Some of them we pull batteries from some because they'll sit for a while, but we try to fire them up every other month or so, move them around a little bit to keep them lubricated where they need to be.
Yeah.
Like this AC here, it's crank start, 471 cubic inches of 4-cylinder engine, and I'm the one that gets to crank start them because I'm the youngest out of the whole place, and that's why I have seen physical therapists for my shoulder. But it's worth it to hear that engine fire off. It's a 1927. It's almost 100 years old.
Yeah.
We have a 100-year-old truck, an AB back there, that is a lot smaller engine. It's a whole lot easier to crank start.
Yeah.
I really like starting that one.
So do your shoulders.
A little tug on the crank and it's going. But to drive it around is just it's such a treat.
Yeah.
My brother had bought a brand new Chevy pickup, and this is mid-'80s.
Yeah. And
I skipped a day of school, and we drove his brand new Chevy pickup to Macungie, Pennsylvania, from Pine Glen. We heard there was a place that had old Mack trucks, and they sold Mack stuff. So I skipped a day of school. Yeah, probably the only day I ever skipped. And we drove down.
That's what you'll tell your parents.
That's no, for sure. But we pulled into the museum, and I met Colin Chisholm,
Mm-hmm.
who was the curator at that point, and we looked through the museum, and I was amazed, and we bought Mack stuff
Yeah.
in the little Mack shop that was tucked in the corner.
Yeah. The Mack shop is no longer tucked anywhere. It's big.
No, it's big,
Lots of stuff.
and I still have that stuff.
Yeah. Well, how can people support the Mack Museum since you're a separate wing and you have to have funds to pay for people, maintenance on trucks, the power bill when it gets cold, and all sorts of stuff. You know what? How do you guys make money? You know, how can people listening and watching help as well?
Well, the easiest way, our website. Our website has a bulk of information on there, a donate button, and you can donate through PayPal. You can send a check, whatever. But we have fundraisers throughout the year. We have I'd mentioned our Trucktoberfest event.
Yeah.
We had a 125 celebration this October. We try to do Trucktoberfest every other year, but I snuck that one in this year for 125.
Yeah.
Donations. We're always looking for monetary donations, and like I said, that's easy. It's PayPal or a check, mailed to the address. We are 501c3, tax deductible donation organization. So, and we have some good supporters. We really do.
Yeah.
Always looking for vehicles. We're always looking for trucks. I don't want to discount that and say that we're not. I mean, we're full.
Yeah.
We did gain some storage space this year, but we've gathered some trucks too this year, and there are a couple more on its way, and some shifting around of. We had some trucks on display at another museum, and they're going to be doing some renovations, so we have to kind of retrieve some of our stuff from there. But we're always looking for something that's unique and isn't something that we already have for display or for adding to the collection. Last year, a very devoted Mack collector passed. His family donated his collection to the Mack Museum, and it was sizable. Very sizable. Now, this is paper brochures, spec sheets, data sheets, books. 162 14 and 17 gallon totes of information that was retrieved by myself and 7 other friends, 8 other friends. So we've been going through that, but in that, we have the master list or the master set of Mack information, right? We do. We found stuff in this guy's collection that we didn't have.
No kidding.
And we have added it to our archive,
Fantastic.
So we don't know what we don't have.
Right.
How can you? Once you think, Mack would have never made a brochure about this, guess what? One shows up.
Yeah.
They did make a brochure about that. So, but we've added all that. We've added that stuff. We're in the process of still going through it. We're about 25% through.
Yeah.
So that means we still have, a number of of totes to go through.
Yeah.
But it's been fun and exciting and all that stuff.
One last time, how can people find the Mack Trucks Historical Museum, both online and here in Allentown, so they can visit and help you guys out?
Mack Trucks Historical Museum.org is our website that has a map on it that directs you directly here. We have a Facebook page, Mack Trucks Historical Museum. Our YouTube channel. We have our YouTube channel that has videos of these trucks running. Our Truck of the Month videos that are they're a project. I do those. It gets tough, but I've taken some time off of them because of the time that's spent. But check out the YouTube channel, Mack Trucks Historical Museum. It's all I try to keep it all the same.
Yes.
So you don't have to go looking for it. Just consider what we are doing to preserve Mack history. Here in the Lehigh Valley, Mack is historical. Here in the United States, Mack is historical. Around the world, Mack is historical. It has contributed to the major infrastructure, whether it's dams or bridges or highways or roads or buildings, And in the long run, Mack Trucks have improved people's lives, and around the world. And that's basically what it comes down to. Our message is that's what we try to preserve, and we want to keep doing it. The preservation of trying to keep papers from disintegrating, or trying to keep films from degrading to the point where they're not usable, is all part of what I'm tasked to do.
Yeah.
Here for the museum. Besides, keep an old truck running.
Well, this has been awesome, Doug. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for coming and spending some time with us.
I can't wait to see the tour after we're done.
Oh, yes.
Thank you for tuning into Beyond the Bulldog with Doug Maney, curator of the Mack Trucks Historical Museum, on site in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Beyond the Bulldog podcast is focused on providing stories and content that keep you entertained and informed. Let us know what you think about this week's episode, and let us know what you want to hear and who you think would make a great guest in our podcast. Please leave your suggestions in the comments section below.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and make sure to follow the Bulldog.